I'd like to call the June 3rd morning session of the Johnston County Commissioners to order and welcome all of you here this morning. It's good to see a full boardroom. Also welcome those who are watching us on our YouTube channel. Welcome to you, and to those who will be watching it at a later date. I do want to open up the meeting. This past week we had a family member, employee, Jennifer O'Connor, that passed away. She was our deputy county attorney, and she was assigned to DSS and child support. So just ask that you all take the time to pray for her family and her friends. It's a big loss to them as well as to Johnston County. With that, changing gears, I do want to talk about, and actually I'll start off with our 6 board priorities, and I'll start off with county employees, given that we just talked about the loss of one and just the importance that they are to the things that happen and go on every day in Johnston County. So they are one of the 6 priorities. The others are educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, and public safety. And you will hear those this morning and this evening. You will hear all 6 of those touched on. It is budget time, so we will particularly be in discussion on the financial stewardship piece. With that, I will ask Commissioner Stevens to lead us in invocation, and the pledge today will be led by American Legion Post 132 out of Smithfield. So if you choose so, please stand for the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today seeking your guidance and wisdom as we begin this meeting. Bless our discussions and decisions, that they may be made with integrity, fairness, and a genuine desire to serve our community. Grant us the patience to listen, the clarity to understand, and the courage to act in the best interest of all those we represent. In your true holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
If you would be seated. All right, the first item on the agenda is approval and or discussion of the agenda. Is there any items that need to be changed or added to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The agenda is approved. Next, we have the consent agenda items. There are 9 of those. Is there any need to adjust?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to remove item D for discussion.
Item D, which is the exercise option purchase. Okay. We would, and I had one as well. We have an appointment to the Johnston Community College Board of Trustees, and there was an applicant who was out of place for several weeks during the application process who has since submitted their application. So I would ask that we remove that and consider that at our July meeting. So, any other adjustments? And so I guess, we'll move the item D. Can we move that to the end before manager?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Comments? Okay. All right, we will do that. All right, do I hear a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amended consent agenda is approved. All right, this brings us to public comment section, and we do have some public comments. I know I'm going to start out with Paulette Williams, who is our Human Resources Director. There she is. magically appeared.
Good morning, Board of Commissioners.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So today I have a few of our retirees, some that are present and some that are not in attendance with us.
You can come closer. You don't have to stay away, but you'll stay at the back door.
So I'll read, and then if we can maybe gather for a picture thereafter.
Okay.
Today in attendance, we have Miss Judy Casey, and she's with the Department of Social Services for May of 2024. We have Miss Kim Jones, and she is with the Public Utilities Department for June 2024. Not present is Mr. John Webster, also with the Department of Social Services. And then for July of this year, we have Mr. Forrest Alford with the Department of Social Services, not present. So here again, we have Miss Judy Casey and Miss Kim Jones with Public Utilities. If you'll just gather and maybe take a
All right. Yeah. Here comes. Ben's got to pull double duty.
I was like, I could try it.
All right, y'all. Take a few. Perfect. Everybody smile. Take one like this. There we go.
Thank y'all for your
Get some
service.
of the- yeah. Are y'all finished in the back?
Thank y'all for your service.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
She went to school with my sister. Kim did.
All right. If there's anyone else wishing to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda, please come forward. And if you would, state your name and general location of where you live. And also ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes, and just remind the public and the board that this is a time to receive public comment. There will be no discussion on the individual items. So if you would, please come forward and state your name and general location in 3 minutes.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is John Jarecki, and with my bride of nearly 53 years, we now live in the northwest corner of the unincorporated section of Selma, North Carolina. Before moving here nearly 4 years ago, we spent the winter months yearly away from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to help our daughter with some of the maintenance and upkeep of her home in Clayton, and to see what the offerings are available in Johnston and Wake counties in our consideration of moving down here. Since moving here, we became volunteer members of Down Home, North Carolina, and have become more aware of the concerns of our neighbors and what others are facing in the county, specifically with regard to housing issues, and as to finding affordable housing for low-income residents, the difficulties in obtaining mortgages and loans, lack of convenient transportation to aid in getting to those newly constructed working opportunities, problems associated with corporate purchases of large tracts of homes turned into rental units, and the reprisals faced by renters when requests for necessary home maintenance and repairs are viewed as an additional cost incurred by the renters. HOAs also expect the same compliances to their covenants, but do not afford renters the courtesy of allowing them to attend HOA meetings to address the issues and at times the growing fines faced by them. As you are facing increasing in your 2024-25 budget, many of your constituents are also facing higher rental costs, higher mortgage rates, increases in car, home, and renters insurance, and the anticipated higher costs within the utilities to keep their homes warm in the winter and cool in the summer. In 2024, an article from Energy Sage stated that the average monthly energy bill of Johnston County, North Carolina, is approximately $219 a month, which is 26% higher than the national average. Of the homeowners and renters that we spoke to about their utility costs, they're more than $250 a month due to the poor insulation qualities of their homes, attics, poor installations of windows and doors, and outdated and costly HVAC systems. Down Home, North Carolina, and I encourage you to seek the millions of dollars available through the Inflation Reduction Act and other open grant monies to help weatherizations of residents to be able to afford the rising electric bills and inflation costs. As you are a member of the Central Pine Regional Council, and with the information that Down Home, North Carolina has acquired, we hope that a working and shared partnership could be formed with Johnston County in acquiring our portions of these additional monies through open grants and the IRA fundings to address the growing concerns in the constituents. One thing that is needed in your upcoming budget is to establish a line item for a facilitator that would regulate, direct, oversee, and be accountable to the county for the distribution of the acquired monies towards homeowners and renters' needs, repairs, and replacements. As an anticipated no-cost item to the county, grants could be written to include necessary salaries, associated costs for an energy manager position. As one such community grant program is open, this council needs to act before the closing date of this November. In closing, I hope that we can work to be the change that we would want and need in Johnston County. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Drackey. Anyone else? All right, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, County Commissioners. My name is Kelly Blanchard, and I'm also the co-founder of Latinos Activate JOCO. I'm also a former crisis intervention and LEAP caseworker and adult protective services worker with Johnston County Social Services here in Johnston County. I'm here to express my support for the We Are JOCO initiative, which encourages Johnston County to apply for the available funds through the Inflation Reduction Act to assist renters and homeowners in weatherizing their homes. In my years working directly with the vulnerable populations here in Johnston County, I have witnessed the harsh reality of the high utility bills, working families, and our elderly who often struggle to pay for the high energy bills when covering rent, mortgage, food, medications, transportation to and from work, medical appointments, and so on. Many of us live one unexpected crisis away from being unable to pay for our family's daily needs. A car repair, increased child care costs, a death, a medical emergency can push a family into financial hardship. With the rising cost of housing, food, and electricity costs, many in our county, even those working full-time jobs or living on fixed incomes, are living paycheck to paycheck. I have seen the long lines at DSS during harsh winters and harsh summers when funds are available to assist with utility bills, with the working poor and seniors of Johnston County seeking the services to prevent their power from being turned off. I have met these people, I've heard their stories, and I have seen their shame for having to come and apply for something that they could not afford. This program allows our county to offer a hand up to these residents, and at some point all of us need a hand up. So addressing these high energy costs has become more pressing in North Carolina. Summers grow hotter and the weather patterns become more extreme. The Inflation Reduction Act provides the opportunity to address these issues, with North Carolina set to receive $156 million in federal funds. Johnston County should apply for their share. Our taxpayers have paid it in. So I'm here to support that. I hope you guys will bring it up for the agenda and help our people out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Blanchard. Anyone else? All right, and Madam Clerk, any emails? Okay. All right, we will move on to the next item, which is a public hearing for fiscal year 24-25, our Johnston County's proposed budget. So, Mr. Hester.
Good morning, Chairman, board members. Appreciate the opportunity to speak today. This is these years go around quick, and so this proposed FY 24-25 budget is proposed. I'd like to ask the board if they would enter the budget message into the minutes. And there are several folks here today to speak to the budget, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
And I know we have three who have sent in requests to speak, and we'll go in this order. JCATS, NC Forestry Service, and Clayton Civitans, and then we'll go with first come, first served after that. So, Josh, I'll turn it over to you.
Reading, did you open the public hearing?
Oh, I did not. Before you start speaking, I will now open the public hearing. That's why you're sitting on my right-hand side here. Now go ahead. There you go.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. We were reviewing the budget for
FY25 specifically for our quick ride pilot, which I know y'all are very aware of. And looking at the existing budget for JCATS, we are around $275,000 short to fully fund the program for next fiscal year. That the current statistics with quick ride, I've shared with you before the original 10-month pilot from March through December, where we did over 12,000 rides in the Smithfield-Selma area. In January through April of this year, we've already done over 7,000 rides, and 35% of those rides are work-related. As an example of that, we take 8 to 10 workers a day from Smithfield-Selma out to the Amazon plant. So it's obviously a very significant need in this community, and again, I'm to fully fund Quick Ride in the Smithfield-Selma area. It's $275,000. As we expand Quick Ride into Clayton, that is a different pool of money, so that is not something that the county needs to concern itself at this time. So if there are no questions, I thank you for your consideration.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rick, did you have a comment?
Yes, sir. I would like to say on that quick ride process, that was an oversight, so we fully support that.
Okay. All right. Mr. Winslow? Yeah. So we have Mike Winslow with the Forestry Service. There we go.
Good morning. My name is Mike Winslow. I represent the North Carolina Forest Service here in Johnston County. To give me a little bit of background, I started my career with the Forestry Service close to 26 years ago. I started out in actually as a temp in Wilson County and started my career permanent down in Pender County in 1998, and I came here in 2005 and been here ever since. It's not just me here in the county. I do supervise 2 assistants and 1 forest fire equipment operator. And together we carry out the forest management and the fire control program in Johnston County. Now, a lot of people, when I tell them I work with the North Carolina Forest Service, first thing they think of is either fire control or Smokey Bear. And that's certainly a big part of it. Well, we also have our, a part of our forest protection program is a fire control, aviation, law enforcement, and our pest control program. A little bit more emphasis on the fire control program. It's not only about fighting fire, but also fire prevention, which that's where Smokey Bear comes in. Going to schools and talking to different groups about how they can prevent fires, and even talking to communities about how they can do fire mitigation within their communities and around their homes. We also have pest control and detection. Twice a year, we usually have aircraft up, and they're actually looking for places, usually southern pine beetle spots. And from there, we help landowners mitigate those issues. We not only do fire mitigation in Johnston County and control, but also throughout the state. I've been from one end of the state to the other, and sometimes we do go out of state to assist them when they're having forest fires. But not only do we do, excuse me, but not only is it our forest protection program, but also a forest management program. And forest management, usually that could involve just talking with a landowner, just sitting around talking to them, you know, getting the history of the property, what their hopes and dreams are, and what their vision is for the property. And sometimes we can even provide written forest management plans, which can be just helping them establish a forest, or they could, the forest management plan could run for decades, something they can go back on to manage their forest. We also have programs that help with forest establishment, replanting of areas that have been harvested. We also, as part of, in the county, we also provide support for our state nurseries and our state forests. And we also have a program for making sure loggers stay within forest practice guidelines during harvest. At present, our budget is now $409,011, with the county share being 40% at $163,604. We are asking for an increase this year, and primarily, most of that's the projected legislative increase, which could be anywhere from 2.5% to 5%. Also increased cost of replacing the truck. We have one more truck to replace, and we'll be okay for a couple of years after. Reason why we're projecting an increase with the cost of the truck, we have budgeted this past year for $50,000, and that's a bare bones truck, gasoline engine, four-wheel drive, but the pump, light bar, and all that goes from one truck to the other if it's in good working order. We had budgeted $50,000, and I was told the actual cost was $53,000 for this past year. We do replace them or try to replace them when they reach 100,000 miles. The amount of increase we're asking for this year is around $9,800. With the county increased amount of $173,397 for a total of $433,491. And some of y'all may or may not have seen this in the email I sent out a while back. This is our new John Deere. We have got it, purchased it this past year, or the state purchased it. It's a John Deere 700L. It's what we call a medium-sized tractor. It's got extra wide pads for going in some of the wet terrain that we can come across here in the county. And that is all I have. And if y'all would have any questions, feel free to ask.
Any questions of Mr. Winslow?
I've got a couple of questions,
Yes, sir.
Mike. When a forester's going into say he's contracted with a landowner to cut a tract, do they have to coordinate any of that with you?
No, sir. And primarily that's done with private loggers. Usually we can provide advice, maybe it could be further down the road a harvest, and maybe something that's got beetles in it, and we say, hey, you may want to harvest this pretty soon, or even selective cuts. But they don't have to notify us, but we usually do on-site inspections if we see them cutting, just to make sure streams aren't stopped up and they're going by the buffer rules. And we try and work with the loggers. If something is going wrong, we try and stop it while they're out there versus having to come back and have them come and clean it up.
Fire detection, you don't use any fire towers anymore, do you?
Not many years. Last to my knowledge, the last two were shut down in 2008. As a matter of fact, in Pender County where I started.
Do you still have access to any satellite detection or anything like that?
They do use some of that, some more in the isolated areas. No, we do have a...
like Pender County?
Yes, sir. We do have patrol pilots that do go up, especially if it's been a while since we've had rain. If we had quite a bit of lightning strikes, they'll actually go up and see if they can detect. And usually when the fire danger is higher, they usually keep planes in the air patrolling pretty regularly. But most of the calls, about 95% of the calls we get are usually from the public cell phones.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Your blade's not gonna look new like that very long.
No, sir. It's already almost all the paint worn off of it now. That's why I took that picture, because I knew it wasn't going to stay long. We put them to work pretty quick.
Mike, thank you for the service you provide. You provide a unique set of services to the county that nobody else provides, and we appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Granis.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Michael Granis, and I represent the Clayton Civitan Club, which resides at 340 McCullers Lane in Clayton, 27520. Back in March, we had submitted a grant request in the amount of $150,000, and that money is to be used specifically to either repair or replace lighting of all of our athletic fields. We have been in Clayton for over 60 years, and we have been actually heavily involved in youth sports for the last 35 years, ranging in ages from 5 through 12. The sports that we involve ourselves with are tackle football, flag football, formerly baseball, and currently lacrosse, and cheerleading. We also have a Cub Scout pack, a Boy Scout troop, and a venture troop for scouting. And the purpose of this money that we're requesting is to actually either repair or replace the lighting of all of our athletic fields. We had Musco Lighting Incorporated, which is a leader in the industry of field lighting, come out and analyze our field lighting, and they felt that it was definitely inferior, much to the point that the foot candles is far below minimum for athletic events. And we have actually used the lights for over 20 years, and we've been very blessed to have them be in pretty good working order up until this point. The amount that they suggested we would be subjected to would be somewhere between $215,000 and $245,000. We are looking as a club to help subsidize the difference that we're asking for in the amount of $50,000, which we currently have available specifically for that particular project. And then we would solicit a loan for the balance of that project. And the downside is if we're unable to do this at least by next year, the likelihood of not being able to utilize the fields in the evenings would be quite strong, and that's because of the inferior lighting. And we're very concerned about that because we don't want to subject any of our youth participants to being exposed to the further likelihood of injury due to poor lighting. As you might think, we are extremely proud of these programs. For years, our football program has been a feeder to Clayton High School, and more recently, as well as to Corn-Soldiers. And we feel, too, that the programs are very constructive for youth to carry them on for the future of their lives. And with that, if you folks have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Granis?
How many fields, Mike, do you have?
We have 3 fields that are used specifically for either football, rugby, or soccer, or lacrosse. And then we have 2 baseball fields. And then we also have a segment of one of our football fields that can also be used as a baseball diamond.
Mr. Granis, what was the amount that you were asking for?
$150,000.
Thank you.
And that would be against the, we think we'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 225 based on the quote that Musco gave us.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Grant, the type of lighting that you propose to use, is it LED technology?
The answer is yes, and we currently don't have that. We have halogen, and I'm sorry, not halogen, but I can't remember what the term is, to be quite frank with you. It's an older version of lighting, though.
High pressure sodium, probably.
Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Yep.
I knew that. I just wanted to see if you did.
Well, I would strongly encourage use of LED technology.
Yes.
The lighting quality is superior, the energy cost is much less.
Yes, and the life is much longer as well. And that was actually the recommendation of Musco.
And I'd just say, we have $75,000 currently in the manager's budget for that project. So, Mr. Granis, thank you. I will say, I think this may be the first time that we haven't been sitting beside each other for my days in the town of Clayton, but good to see you as always. And thank you for all the civitans too.
Thank you very much, and it's very good to be here. So,
Thank you, sir.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak? I will take that As a no, Mr. Manager, any other comments from you? All right, any emails on the budget? All right, and I will say, I will go ahead and close the public hearing and just say we have 2 additional meetings scheduled for the public to be able to comment. They are Monday, June the 10th at 6 o'clock, and that's a special meeting. We will be here in the boardroom. And then on Monday, the 17th, at our regularly scheduled meeting at 6 o'clock, we anticipate that the budget will be adopted at that meeting. So two more opportunities to come and present to us on the budget. With that, we will move on to Department of Social Services and a proclamation for Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And do we have Jerica Fontanette here? Okay. Ms. Fontanette, Commissioner Smith will read the proclamation, so with any other information to introduce that, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
On the behalf of our director, Ms. Christine Dowdell, thank you so much for recognizing this cause. Our elderly population is the cornerstone of our community.
You're here.
I'm there too.
And Johnston County Social Services strives to ensure that every adult live in a safe and protective environment. We will be thrilled if you would join us for our 9th annual Elderly Abuse Awareness event, which is scheduled for next Thursday, June the 13th at 10 o'clock on our campus. Thank you so much for helping and supporting us in stopping elderly abuse.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Smith?
Okay. Johnson County includes over 35,000 citizens aged 60 and older that deserve to live safely, with dignity, and as independently as possible with the support they need. And whereas elderly abuse is most often defined as any act that harms a senior or jeopardizes his or her health, safety, or welfare, and whereas Johnston County's older population is a vital, important part of the community that contributes to the social and cultural education of future generations, and whereas identifying, reporting, and eliminating abuse, neglect, or exploitation to older persons is each community's responsibility. And whereas all residents should watch for signs of physical abuse, withdrawal, depression, anxiety, fear, and living without necessities such as food, heat, air, and medicine, and make it known to proper institutions. Now, therefore, we, the Johnston County Board of Commissioners, does hereby proclaim June 15th, 2024 as Elderly Abuse Awareness Day in Johnston County, and encourages everyone to commit to protecting the safety and future of our older citizens. Adopted this the 3rd day of June 2024.
Do I hear a motion to adopt that?
I'll make that as a motion.
Second it.
Second, all right. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor of adopting the proclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Proclamation is adopted.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd just like to thank our DSS folks. Y'all do an extraordinary job, and it's just it is a massive task, and each and every day, you've got a great team that's working hard to serve the citizens of this county. We're really proud of you, and we thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks. All right, the next item on the agenda is for us to discuss the resolution for 2024 general obligation bond referendum. And Martha Laster is coming forward to introduce this item for us.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. This item includes all the actions, initial actions to start the process for a November general obligation school bond referendum and a general obligation community college bond referendum. For the school bonds, there's a resolution authorizing staff to proceed with filing an application with the Local Government Commission. It authorizes publication of a notice of intent to file the application, which is a statutory requirement, and it makes certain findings related to those bonds. There's also a resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures with proceeds of debt if we needed to. For the community college bonds, there are the same two resolutions. And prior to acting or considering the resolutions, we ask that you discuss and/or consider an amount for the school bond referendum and an amount for the community college bond referendum. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Lassiter? So it seems to me, is this cycle different than others? I don't recall us having to vote before on previous bonds. Did I just sleep through that, or this one seems we're in the middle of budget and we're setting the amount?
Well, in the past, I think the amount was decided before it came to the agenda.
Okay.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
So is there any discussion for the board this morning? I think we had, and you have to help me with the numbers here, from the public schools was 285, and from JCC was 100. Was that 124 or 85? Did it revise to 85? Okay. So, all right.
What was the school system?
285 was their original request. And then JCC was 120, and I think they reduced that to 85. So, all right, look forward to the discussion on this tonight. And we will move on to the next item, which is appointments. And we have already made some appointments for which the number of applicants matched the number of positions available. That was in our consent agenda approval, with the one exception of the JCC trustee appointment, which will be done in our July meeting. And so the ones that were left were for the Library Board of Trustees. There was one position there with 2 applicants. And then for the Local Emergency Planning Commission, there were 2 seats open there, one for environmental and one for community groups. And the interesting piece with this one is the board was formerly comprised of 29 members. This year it will be 15 members. And so we are faced with choices from folks who are current members and having to pick between one of the 2 who are currently on the board. And we have that decision for us. As I said, we got 2 applicants for one position representing the environmental side of things, and then another for community groups. Again, we have 2 applicants. And as we have done in the past, there are ballots at your seats. If you would fill those out, turn them into the clerk so that we can make that announcement at the beginning of our 6 o'clock meeting tonight. Any other questions or comments on that? All right. Next up, we will hear from our tax administrator, Jocelyn Andrews, on our delinquent tax report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Before you have the April collections report. As you can see, we ended April at 99.62% collection. We're down right now. I haven't seen today's numbers as to where we ended up with May. I'm looking forward to that. And we've got about 30 days to go, and then we're done for the year. So as you can see, staff has been working hard to get these numbers. I'll have to say this is that time of year where my collection staff has to get creative and has to dig in and find some determination to try to get that last little bit collected. So kudos to them for all they do in this respect, and we'll know in about a month where we stand. So again, we ended the month of April slightly higher than we did last year at the same time, but ended up at 99.62%. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
I've noticed 2023 is actually higher on collection rate than 2022, which is really good, and I think we're very fortunate to have the staff in our tax department we do have, but they're doing an excellent job, and I'd just like to commend you on that.
Thank you. I'll be glad to pass that on to the staff.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will call on the manager for any reports and comments.
Item D on the consent.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I did not make that note there. Thanks again for being correct. Also, yeah, if you would come up, Ms. Slusser, and give us that information on the option to purchase.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For your consideration today is the exercise of an option to purchase agreement for some property that we refer to as the Massey Tract, which is adjacent and across the street from the newly constructed Public Safety Center and Detention Center. This parcel is approximately 86.22 acres, and the purchase price for this property is $49,500 per acre. We have done a good deal of preliminary due diligence on this property, and at this point believe that it is suitable for county purposes. And so our deadline to exercise this option is June the 30th of this month. And so I wanted to go ahead and bring it to you for consideration. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we exercise the option.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got some discussion. Let me sort of summarize where we are on this thing, because this thing has taken a life of itself. In 2018, we bought 24.29 acres in that vicinity, 3 corners of that intersection of US 70 and Yelverton Grove Road, and we paid $21,000 for it. We sort of set the bar for that entire geographic area east of town. But then in 22, we bought 5.5 acres for $450,000, or what amounted to $81,000 per acre. And that changed the entire dynamic of the real estate market in the eastern side of town. You know, we had earlier considered for the detention center a tract to the west at $23,000 an acre, but because of citizen suggestions, we chose not to exercise that. And we moved to the eastern side of town, and we got a great facility out there, a great location, and I think this land would be very good for our uses. But we recast the entire environment by buying that 5.5 acres of land. I submit that we could probably have negotiated this 86 acres for in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $40,000 per acre. But as the seller indicated, well, we'll take what you paid for that other tract. And of course, since then, we bought some across the road that will be of benefit to the county at $40,000 an acre. And again, I think we've just recast the entire environment by buying that little tract. I'm reminded of the Rotary test of the 4 things we think, say, and do. 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Well, I probably have violated that. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? My concern is for the taxpayers of this county, and I hope that we as a group don't ever adopt a philosophy similar to the Federal Reserve. We just print more money. Well, we can just go after more money. I rarely see a time when there's anything that's beyond our affordability, and that's what concerns me. At some point, things are just too expensive. And as a private citizen and representing the taxpayer, I don't think we ought to be going down some of the roads we're going down. Now, obviously, this is going to pass. We need that land at this point, but I think we could have gotten it a lot cheaper had we not taken some actions in the past. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay. I'll go on record.
Motion carries. All right. Mr. Manager, any reports? All right, I'll turn it over to the board. I'll start with you, Commissioner Brazel.
Once again, I want to commend our employees, our staff. I think we are really, really blessed to have the staff and employees we've got. And I think our manager does an excellent job, and I just want to tell him. So that's all I got.
All right. Thank you.
I have nothing.
All right. Vice Chairman Harris.
No, sir, thank you.
Commissioner Godwin.
On Saturday, I wasn't able to attend, but Cleveland Fire Department had their ribbon cutting at their new station number 3, and I understand they dedicated it to Rudolph Wells. And I regret I could not attend that thing, because I've thought a lot of Mr. Wells for a long time, And I think back to Antioch Fire Department lost their first chief. Mr. Hokett died last year in recent months. And Rudolph is like a lot of us, getting on up there in age. And that's a generation I hate to see not involved as much as they have, but they've brought us a long way. And I commend Cleveland and all of its firemen for what they're doing.
Thank you.
I'd like to say that I agree in principle with Mr. Godwin's comments about the land purchase, but I recognize that the county needs that land, and the deal has already been brokered. And I didn't want to see that effort go to waste, but I think we need to be have a little more diligence in the future when we start negotiating. We do not have an endless bank account or pocketbook, but I was in favor of it simply because we're at the stage we're at. I also attended the dedication ceremony for the Cleveland Firehouse. It's a very nice facility. It's indicative of what this county is going to have to meet the needs. And I think that that sets a good standard that we need to try to mimic going forward.
All right.
Just going to ditto what they said. With regards to the fire station, it's very exciting to see that area growing and be as protected as it is.
All right, and I did not have anything I will to say. The Cleveland event, it really was a community event. A lot of folks turned out. Mr. Wells was classic. Mr. Wells, I think he was very gracious and humble, and his acceptance at the station was named in his honor. There was another charter member there as well. So there was Larry. They started with a B. Barber, yeah, thank you. I knew it started with a B. So 2 charter members from the Cleveland Fire Department were there. Great community event. So that was all that I had. I think we do have a need to go into a closed session.
Okay, I move the board go into closed session for the following purposes: to consult with an attorney employed by the board in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A3, for the purpose of discussing matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A4, to establish or instruct staff concerning the negotiations of the price and terms of a contract concerning the acquisition of real property pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A5, and for the purpose of personnel pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A6, and I don't think there are any more. So I'll make that as a motion.
I say.
At least your proclamation was short today. So we have a motion and a second to go into closed session for the reasons stated. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we will go into closed session after a few minutes to clear the boardroom. Thank you.